Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. COVID-19 recoveries in the country cross 19 lakh mark. Recovery rate further improves to 73.18%. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu says innovation should become a people's movement and India must once again emerge as the global hub of learning and innovation. Supreme Court refuses to direct transfer of money collected under the PM Cares Fund to the National Disaster Response Fund. Punjab government imposes additional restrictions within municipal limits of all cities from today amid spike in coronavirus infections. And External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar holds talks with his UAE counterpart, invites further investments in key sectors. The country registered the highest number of recoveries so far from COVID-19 in a single day. Nearly 58,000 people in the country have been cured and have returned to their homes in the last 24 hours. With this, the cumulative recoveries from COVID-19 in the country is nearing the 2 million mark. So far, a total of 19,77,779 people have recovered in the country, and with this, the nationwide recovery rate has further improved to 73.18%. The case fatality rate continues to show a steady decline and now stands at 1.92%. 30 states and union territories in the country have even lower fatality rate than the national average. The Health Ministry said around 55,000 new cases of COVID-19 have been registered in the country in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to 27,02,743. The positivity rate also witnessed a steady decline and now stands at only 8.81% out of the total samples tested for COVID. Presently, the total number of active corona cases in the country is 6,73,166. In a single day, 876 deaths have also been reported, taking the toll to 51,797.
India is continuously stepping up its COVID testing capacity. In the last 24 hours, the country moved closer to testing 1 million samples in a day. With a record testing of nearly 9 lakh samples in a day, the nation achieved another milestone yesterday. The Union Health Ministry informed that the remarkable feat has been achieved by rigorously following the test, track and treat strategy. It said the strong resolve and determination of the Union government, along with the states and union territories, to follow aggressive testing as the first important step in the early detection and isolation of COVID-19 cases has resulted in rapidly increasing the number of tests done per day. The week-wise average daily tests conducted has witnessed a sharp increase from around 2.3 lakh in the first week of July 2020 to around 8 lakh in the current week. With 8,99,864 tests yesterday, the cumulative COVID sample tests done so far in the country has further risen to reach 3,941,264 tests. The government said the strong determinant of this milestone has been a sustained expansion of testing labs across the country. From merely one lab in January this year, the country today has 1,476 labs. Out of this, 971 are government labs, while the remaining 505 are private labs.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah has been admitted to AIIMS, New Delhi for post-COVID care. AIIMS, in a statement, said Mr. Shah is comfortable and continuing his work from the hospital. Mr. Shah has been complaining of fatigue and body ache for the last 3 to 4 days. He has been tested negative for COVID-19. In Madhya Pradesh, the number of COVID-19 cases in the state climbed to 46,385 after 930 new cases were reported in the past 24 hours. With 23 patients succumbing to the infection, the death toll rose to 1,128.
As per the State Health Bulletin, 987 coronavirus patients were discharged from the hospitals yesterday, taking the number of recovered cases in the state to 35,025. There are now 10,232 active cases in Madhya Pradesh. Meanwhile, Madhya Pradesh has ranked 16th according to a comparative status of active patients in the country. At the same time, it is 15th in terms of positive patients. The state's recovery rate has increased to 75.5%. The fatality rate of the state is 2.43%. and positivity rate is 4.40%. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
Punjab is witnessing a spike in COVID-19 cases. 1,495 fresh positive cases were reported yesterday and 749 patients were discharged from various hospitals after recovery. 51 deaths were also reported. Out of total 1,495 COVID-positive patients found yesterday, 220 are from Ludhiana district and 298 from Jalandhar district. The Bhatinda and Firozpur districts also reported 153 cases each. With this, the number of persons tested positive so far has risen to 32,695, out of which so far 20,180 patients have been cured and 862 have died due to this infection. Now, 11,653 COVID patients are under treatment in various hospitals of the state. In the wake of continuous rise in COVID-19 cases, Punjab government has imposed additional restrictions within municipal limits of all the cities of Punjab from today till further orders. An official spokesperson informed that movement of individuals for all the non-essential activities shall remain prohibited between 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. within municipal limits. However, essential activities including operation of multiple shifts, movement of persons and goods on national and state highways, and unloading of cargo and travel of persons to their destinations after disembarking from buses, trains and aeroplanes would be permitted. Similarly, all industries running into 2 to 3 shifts would also remain open. He revealed that restaurants, hotels and other hospitality units would remain open till 8:30 p.m. Apart from this, shops and shopping malls would remain open till 8 p.m.
Odisha has scaled a new high against COVID-19 with its cumulative tests crossing the 10 lakh mark. The state has conducted a total of 10,09,454 sample tests till yesterday. Meanwhile, a fresh lot of 2,239 persons have tested positive during the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to 64,533, while the number of those who have recovered from the infection stands at 43,779. The number of active cases has gone up to 20,339. With 9 more deaths during the last 24 hours, the total number of people who have succumbed to the infection has risen to 362.
Even as the COVID-19 caseload of the state had seen a slump during the last 2 days, with the daily positive cases hanging around 2,200, the positivity rate too has shrunk from a high of 10.78% in July 2020 to 5.2% in August so far. With this encouraging outcome, the state government is on a testing spree, targeting to take the daily tests far beyond the current level of around 50,000 sample tests, which include a liberal mix of RT-PCR and rapid antigen methods. Odisha has also reported a lower fatality rate of 0.57% as against the national average of 1.92%. Besides, only 6 districts out of 30 have reported 100-plus cases, with Khordha district topping the tally with 419 as of now. Girish Chandradas, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
The pandemic situation in Karnataka is improving as the recovery rate in 10 out of 29 districts has crossed 70%. Similarly, the case fatality rate is below 1% in 14 districts. Out of 2,03,200 positive cases reported till date, 1,21,242 are discharged after recovery. 3,613 persons have lost their lives. All the districts have improved testing and tracking figures, and the state is conducting, on an average, 50,000 tests daily. Bengaluru Urban District, which has the highest caseload in the state, has recorded a recovery rate of 60.9% and case fatality rate of 1.6%. The Bengaluru Urban District's doubling rate has improved further at 22 days, which is much better than the state average of 19 days. Meanwhile, Executive Chairperson of Biocon Limited Company, Kiran Majumdar Shah, has tested positive for COVID-19. She has tweeted that she has mild symptoms and has isolated herself. Gujarat has reported 1,033 new cases of COVID-19 during the last 24 hours. AIR Ahmedabad correspondent reports that new cases in Surat and Ahmedabad are decreasing despite the number of tests increasing significantly.
Once the hotspot of COVID-19 in the state, the new cases in Ahmedabad and Surat city are now decreasing significantly. Both the cities are also reporting more discharge than new cases on daily basis. Similarly, the death rate is also lowest in Surat and Ahmedabad in recent past. Diamond City Surat continues to discharge more COVID-19 patients than new cases. 298 COVID-19 patients were discharged yesterday against the 168 new cases. The total number of patients recovered from COVID-19 in Surat till now has crossed 11,000 marks. According to Surat Municipal Corporation, the total number of COVID-19 cases has crossed 14,000 marks. Yogesh Pandya, Air News, Ahmedabad.
In Mizoram, 26 fresh coronavirus cases have been detected in the past 24 hours and one patient recovered from the infections yesterday. With this, the total number of COVID-19 cases in the state has reached 815. According to an official statement so far, 372 patients have been discharged after recovery and presently 443 patients are undergoing treatment. In Rajasthan, the recovery rate of the COVID patients has increased to 75.71%. With 694 fresh cases reported today, the total number of cases went up to 63,324 in the state. In the last 15 hours, 10 deaths were also reported, taking the state's toll to 897. More from a correspondent.
For the fifth consecutive day yesterday, the state has reported the highest single-day jump in COVID cases. 1,334 positive cases have been reported yesterday. The total number of positive cases has gone up to 14,462. Jaipur has the highest 2,238 active patients, while Kota is at second number with 1,941 active patients. One member of the State Assembly has also been tested positive, who took part in the session of Friday. Government is to increase testing of COVID samples. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Deputy Commissioner DC Budgam Shahbaz Ahmed Mirza convened a meeting of religious scholars, imams, khatibs, traders and shopkeepers representing all prominent areas of District Budgam to have an interaction amid reopening of mosques, shrines and markets. During the interaction, the DC sought their opinion and suggestions from the imams and khatibs. The religious leaders assured the DC of their full support. The DC urged for constitution of Mahalla committees for concerned mosques to help in preparing the general public to follow all COVID-19 SOPs and other guidelines. Regarding opening of markets, the DC impressed upon the traders and shopkeepers to ensure that all SOPs are strictly adhered to in letter and spirit. The total number of COVID-19 cases has reached 2,15,49,706 globally. 7,76,158 deaths have also been reported, according to an official statement released by WHO. 2,50,285 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. COVID-19 recoveries in the country cross 19 lakh mark. Recovery rate further improves to 73.18%. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu says innovation should become a people's movement and India must once again emerge as the global hub of learning and innovation. Supreme Court refuses to direct transfer of money collected under the PM CARES Fund to the National Disaster Response Fund. Punjab government imposes additional restrictions within municipal limits of all cities from today amid spike in coronavirus infections. And External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar holds talks with his UAE counterpart, invites further investments in key sectors. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today said innovation should become a people's movement. Speaking at the ceremony for announcing the results of Atal Ranking of Institutions on Innovation Achievements 2020, Mr. Naidu said innovation is the need of the hour. He said there should be concerted efforts to inculcate the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship among students to make them out-of-the-box thinkers. He said innovation has always been the key, defining feature of human progress.
We have to tap into the highly talented youth population, which is brimming with new ideas, a passion for experimentation, and willingness to forge a new path. It is these young people studying many of our colleges and universities who will define what our country's future will be. It is these youths that need encouragement, felicitation and recognition. They must be given the guidance and freedom to explore new frontiers. Proper guidance is the need of the hour.
In the ARIIA 2020 rankings, IIT Madras again claimed the top spot for best centrally funded institution, followed by IIT Bombay and IIT Delhi. In the category of private institutions, Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, Odisha, has emerged as winner. KIIT is followed by SRM Institute of Science and Technology and Vellore Institute of Technology. College of Engineering, Pune, Maharashtra has topped the list for state-funded autonomous institutions. For the first time, ARIIA 2020 rankings had a special prize category for women-only higher educational institutions.
The Supreme Court today refused to direct the transfer of money collected under the PM CARES Fund set up for COVID-19 relief to the National Disaster Response Fund, NDRF. The bench of Justices Ashok Bhushan, R. Subhash Reddy and M.R. Shah also held that contributions to the PM CARES Fund were funds of a charitable trust. The court said that there was no statutory prohibition on contributions made to the NDRF. The bench further clarified that funds collected under the PM CARES Fund are entirely different from the NDRF. On the petitioner's prayer to set up a national plan for COVID-19, the Apex Court held that the plan prepared by the centre is sufficient to cater to the pandemic. Union Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad took a sharp jibe at the opposition today and said that the Supreme Court judgment pertaining to the PM CARES Fund has cleared the air regarding the issue. He said all the donations to PM CARES Fund is done in a transparent manner.
पीएम केयर फंड से अब तक 3,100 करोड़ रुपए दिए गए हैं कोरोना की लड़ाई में, जिसमें 2,000 करोड़ सिर्फ वेंटिलेटर के लिए दिए गए। और आज देश को बताते हुए आप सबों के माध्यम से प्रसन्नता होती है कि 50,000 वेंटिलेटर पीएम केयर फंड के द्वारा दिए गए पैसे से उपलब्ध कराए गए हैं, जो आजादी के बाद के आज तक के इतिहास के हाईएस्ट है। लगभग 1,000 करोड़ दिए गए हैं राज्यों को जो हमारे प्रवासी मजदूर आए उनकी व्यवस्था करने के लिए, और लगभग 100 करोड़ रुपए दिए गए हैं कोरोना के खिलाफ वैक्सीन के अनुसंधान में मदद के लिए। तो 3,100 करोड़ की बड़ी राशि कोरोना की लड़ाई के लिए दी गई है।
BJP President J.P. Nadda today described the Supreme Court decision on the PM CARES Fund as a resounding blow to the nefarious designs of Congress leader Rahul Gandhi. Mr. Nadda said the truth shines despite the ill intent and malicious efforts of the Congress party and its associates. BJP President said Mr. Gandhi's rants have been repeatedly dismissed by the common man who has overwhelmingly contributed to the PM CARES Fund. Mr. Nadda alleged that the Gandhi family treated PM NRF, Prime Minister's National Relief Fund, as his personal fiefdom for decades and brazenly transferred citizens' hard-earned money from PM NRF to its family trusts.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar held extensive talks with his counterpart from the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, covering a range of areas, including ways to further boost strategic ties and the situation in the neighbourhood of both countries. The virtual talks were held yesterday as part of the 13th session of the India-UAE Joint Commission meeting on trade, economic and technical cooperation. Ministry of External Affairs said the Indian side invited further investments from the UAE in key sectors of the Indian economy, such as infrastructure, including logistics, food parks, highways, ports, airports, renewable energy and defence. It said wide-ranging discussions were held in a friendly, frank and constructive atmosphere, reflecting the strong bilateral ties between the two partners. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar today called his Sri Lankan counterpart, Dinesh Gunawardena, to congratulate him on his reappointment. Mr. Jaishankar said he looked forward to working closely with Gunawardena to take their partnership to greater heights. Mr. Gunawardena was reappointed the foreign minister in Sri Lanka's new cabinet that was sworn in last week.
The first World Solar Technology Summit will be organized by the International Solar Alliance ISA on a virtual platform on the 8th of September. Sharing details of the summit, President of the ISA Assembly and New and Renewable Energy Minister R.K. Singh said Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver the inaugural address of the first World Solar Technology Summit, and it will be graced by ministers from member countries from across all ISA regions. He said high-level dignitaries from the world of scientific research and development and a CEO's conclave will set the tone of the deliberations on low-cost, innovative and affordable solar technologies. Senior government functionaries, heads of global corporations, financial and multilateral institutions, civil society, foundations and think tanks will be present during the inaugural session. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has invited ideas and suggestions for his Mann Ki Baat program to be aired on the 30th of August. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said he is looking forward to ideas on what should be discussed in this month's Mann Ki Baat. People can record their message by dialing 1800-117800. They can also write on the Namo app or MyGov.
The Governor of Goa, Satyapal Malik, has been transferred and appointed as Governor of Meghalaya. Rashtrapati Bhavan in a communique said that Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari will discharge the functions of the Governor of Goa in addition to his own duties. These appointments will take effect from the dates they assume charge of their offices. Comptroller and Auditor General of India Girish Chandra Murmu called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. Mr. Murmu has assumed office on August the 8th. All India Radio Delhi will broadcast a program of tribute to the legendary Indian classical vocal maestro late Pandit Jasraj today at 5:45 p.m. on Indraprasth, FM Gold and AIR Live News 24/7 YouTube channels. The 15-minute program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You can listen to it on our mobile app News on AIR.
Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla is on a two-day visit to Dhaka from today. External Affairs Ministry said he will discuss and take forward cooperation on matters of mutual interest during his visit. Cricketer Rohit Sharma is among the 4 athletes who have been recommended for India's highest sporting honour, the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award. Along with Rohit Sharma, Asian Games gold medalist Vinesh Poghat, table tennis champion Manika Batra and Paralympic gold medalist Mariappan Thangavelu have been recommended for the Khel Ratna Awards.
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappadi Palanisamy has urged the centre to help in executing key river linking and irrigation projects in the state. He interacted with Union Jal Shakti Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat and senior officials in the ministry through video conferencing today. Mr. Palanisamy requested the centre to speed up the preparation of the new detailed project report for linking the Godavari and Kaveri rivers. He also said the quantum of water to be given to the water-deficient state needs to be 200 TMC. He demanded the centre's approval for rejuvenating the river Kaveri on the lines of the Namami Ganga project. Mr. Palanisamy asked for inclusion of Tamil Nadu in the Atal Bhujal Yojana, which is being currently implemented in 7 states. He reiterated the state's position that the proposed dam across the interstate river Kaveri at Mekedatu by the upper riparian state of Karnataka would be against the interests of the lower riparian state and would go against the judgments of the Supreme Court and the Kaveri Tribunal. In our series on Atmanirbhar Bharat, we bring you a special story on DRDO's ultraviolet disinfection tower for rapid chemical-free disinfection of high-prone areas. Defence Research and Development Organisation DRDO has developed an equipment named UV Blaster, which is an ultraviolet-based area sanitizer. Designed and developed by Laser Science and Technology Centre, LASTEC, the Delhi-based premier laboratory of DRDO, the equipment is useful for high-tech surfaces like electronic equipment, computers and other gadgets in laboratories and offices that are not suitable for disinfection with chemical methods. The product is also effective for areas with large flow of people such as airports, shopping malls, metros, hotels, factories, offices, etc. The UV-based area sanitizer can be used by remote operation through laptop or mobile phone using Wi-Fi link. The equipment has 6 lamps each with 43 watts of UVC power at 254 nanometer wavelength for 360-degree illumination. For a room of about 12 by 12 feet dimension, the disinfection time is about 10 minutes and 30 minutes for 400 square feet area by positioning the equipment at different places within the room.
Father of the nation Mahatma Gandhi has said, "Khadi is not a cloth, it is a thought." Khadi has always been a symbol of the freedom struggle of a country. Now it may be synonymous with freedom from poverty. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also spoke in his Mann Ki Baat program about adopting Khadi clothes and adopting Swadeshi, which impacted people, and they have started adopting Khadi as well as Swadeshi, which led to increase in demand for Khadi in the markets. In Meerut region and nearby places, people are becoming self-sufficient, Atmanirbhar, by spinning and weaving Khadi and leading a better life. A report from a correspondent.
Meerut Khadi region contains 25 districts in western Uttar Pradesh, where Khadi activities are on run through 413 Khadi committees and produce Khadi, also called Khaddar, at large scale. Lakhs of people, including a large number of women, are engaged in Khadi spinning and weaving here and running their livelihood. Director of Khadi and Blaze Industry Commission, Meerut region, Rajesh Srivastav said,
25 जिलों में हमारी खादी एक्टिविटी चलती है। उसके माध्यम से हम लोग खादी का प्रोडक्शन करते हैं और खादी के प्रोडक्शन के माध्यम से हम लोग रोजगार का सृजन करते हैं, जिसमें करीब हमारे 1,23,787 लोग जुड़े हुए हैं। इसको हम लोग कर्तन और बुनकर कहते हैं।
One of the worker, Rekha, told that
हम एक चरखे से खादी का काम करते हैं और हमें ये रोजगार मिला हुआ है। इससे हमें घर का भी काम कर लेते हैं और हमें थोड़े बहुत पैसों का भी काम कर लेते हैं और जो हमारे पैसे हैं वो हमारे खाते में आते हैं।
Definitely, by adopting Khadi, we will help making Atmanirbhar Bharat, a vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. With Sangeeta Srivastav in Meerut, MS Yadav, AIR News, Lucknow.
Housing and Urban Development and Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep S. Puri has urged the steel industry to come up with own design and structures for usage of newer strategies and technologies for faster completion of resilient houses. Puri asked Steel Authority of India Limited and other steel PSUs to take the lead and come up with innovative ideas which can be implemented on the ground. He said once we have implementable models, Housing and Urban Development will collaborate to promote it across the states. He was addressing a webinar on Atmanirbhar Bharat, fostering steel usage in housing and construction and aviation sector. He said the Ministry of Housing has already launched a global challenge, Global Housing Technology Challenge, to promote and propagate new technologies. He expressed the hope that Indian companies will develop models and prototypes using new, low-cost technologies and strategies to be truly Atmanirbhar. The minister informed that across the country more than 15 lakh houses have been built or are under construction using new technologies both under PMAY and other state agencies.
Hockey India today announced it will provide 61 unemployed players, including 34 women, with financial assistance amid the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Athletes not holding employment are facing constraints due to the pandemic, impacting them adversely. Under the initiative, each player will be provided a sum of 10,000 rupees to help them return to sporting activities. Hockey India officiating President Gyanendra Ningombam said the objective of the initiative is to provide basic financial relief to the athletes.
Now let us take a look at today's weather update. In the national capital Delhi, minimum temperature was 26 degrees Celsius, while maximum temperature is expected to be around 34 degrees with generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. The minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 30 degrees. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky with light rain and minimum temperature was 26 degrees Celsius and maximum is expected at 35 degrees. Kolkata will have generally cloudy sky with few spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature in the metropolis was 26 degrees Celsius while maximum will be around 31 degrees. On to the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was 26 degrees Celsius in Jammu while maximum will be around 34 degrees. The city will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. In Srinagar, partly cloudy sky becoming cloudy towards afternoon, evening or night. Minimum temperature was 22 degrees Celsius while maximum is expected to be around 34 degrees. Ladakh will have mainly partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 20 and 33 degrees Celsius. In Gilgit, the minimum temperature was 20 degrees Celsius and maximum around 40 degrees with partly cloudy sky. Muzaffarabad will be partly cloudy with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. The minimum temperature was 23 and maximum is expected to be around 37 degrees.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. COVID-19 recoveries in the country cross 19 lakh mark. Recovery rate further improves to 73.18%. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu says innovation should become a people's movement and India must once again emerge as the global hub of learning and innovation. Supreme Court refuses to direct transfer of money collected under PM CARES Fund to National Disaster Response Fund. Punjab government imposes additional restrictions within municipal limits of all cities from today amid spike in coronavirus infections. And External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar holds talks with his UAE counterpart, invites further investments in key sectors. With that, we end the midday news.